Hey everyone, it is Monday, September 26th. The time is 1:53 p.m. and the temperature right now is around 15 degrees Celsius. And this here is Dundas Street West. And there's a look up at the Ted Rogers School of Management. And it still says Ryerson University on the side of that building. And that has since been renamed to Toronto Metropolitan University, otherwise known as TMU. And for this one, I'm going to be going for a walk around the TMU campus. There's an eastbound streetcar, and this is the intersection of Yonge and Dundas. And that would be Dundas Square just across the street. And this is always a fairly lively spot downtown. And that is the Eaton Center. And the Ted Rogers School of Management occupies the upper floors of, I guess that would be the northwest corner of the Eaton Center. So I'm just going to head north up Yonge Street here to Gould. And then I'll cross over and I'll enter the campus area. And the campus itself is mostly located in an area known as the Garden District. And the campus is bordered roughly by Gerrard Street to the north, and I think Mutual Street to the east, Dundas to the south, and Yonge to the west, although there are buildings outside of those boundaries. That could be a number of students heading south down the other side of Yonge there. And there is the building formerly known as the Ryerson University Learning Center. That's the Sheldon and Tracy Levy Student Learning Center now. And that building replaced the location of the iconic Sam the Record Man. There's the World Food Market. And I did a walk through this campus with Ken from the Ken Continuum channel in a video that appeared on his channel a few weeks ago. That was during the first week of class. And that walk finished up at this spot. I'm not going to head into the Student Learning Center, but you get a pretty neat vantage point from up here. So this is east on Gould Street into the heart of the university campus. And there's a number of food vendors here: churros, Korean hot dog and sandwich, tacos, which I just had for lunch, a place called Exotic Burger, Ultimate Shop Scooters. And here's a blast from the past, or rather past it. There's a novelty ID card sign. That is something you used to see a lot more of along this stretch of Yonge Street. So apparently my camera is in zoom mode. Let me just change that. There we go. So later on in this walk, I'll be walking north up Victoria Street here. And I'll take that. Or will I be walking south? I don't know. I'll be walking along Victoria Street at some point. I think I'd have some idea what route I'm going to be taking. And this pond here turns into a skating rink in the wintertime. And that building there, the Image Center, lights up quite nicely at night. It changes to a variety of different colors. Not sure what they're selling here. It looks like some kind of farmer's market. A lot of baked goods. World's best butter tarts. And there's the location of Balzac's. And this is Bond Street. And I think I'll be making my way along this street later on. And there's a large community park just to the north of here that I'll be passing through later on as well. I didn't attend Ryerson myself, although I was accepted into it. I opted to go to York. So Ryerson would be one of the 3 major universities in the city, and it would be the smallest of the 3. This is your student center, Ryerson Student Center. So you can see they still have a lot of signs to change, and that one says Ryerson Students Union, and the logo is a ram. But they renamed all their sports teams from the Ram to the Bold for some reason. So instead of being the Ryerson Rams, they're now the TMU Bold.
Yeah, squash is a lot too.
And there was a statue of the namesake that Ryerson was named after just over there, but that was taken down a few years ago when it came to light that Egerton Ryerson was associated with the residential school system in the country. And that's what eventually prompted the name change. And we are at Church Street. All right, I'm going to go north up Church to Gerrard. Up there is the Creative School. It looks like their new slogan is made of grit. So this is north up the west side of Church Street. And I read on Maclean's, who ranks all the different universities in the country, that Ryerson was ranked the 11th best in terms of its comprehensive university rankings. And I think it has a little under 50,000 students in total. And it opened back in 1948. It was originally known as the Ryerson Institution, or Institute of Technology. And it opened up as a response to the lack of skilled tradespeople following the Second World War. There was a shortage of them.
Everything paid for already.
And it was built on the site of Ontario's first teachers training college. That on the left is Kerr Hall. I'm not super familiar with what function each of these buildings serves. Although there is a campus map right here. Which does have the updated name on it. So I started this one at Yonge and Dundas, and then I walked along here. Now we're here. And the Church Wellesley Village is just to the north of here, along with the Ryerson Athletic Center. That is the building formerly known as Maple Leaf Gardens. All right, let's cut through here. That is Eric Pollen Hall on the left. There's certainly a lot of brutalist-inspired buildings in this campus. Just big, ugly, gray concrete slabs with some windows. I wonder what this is for. It's kind of curious. I think this is a student residence here, and that would be Mutual Street, just to the east of here, so that would be roughly the eastern boundary of the campus. That says Rogers Communication Center straight ahead. There's a look back at Aura. That was that tall condo off in the distance, so we are now here, of course. Let's cut through the creative school here. Or not. One card required to enter. That was smart of them. That keeps those pesky YouTubers at bay. It's back to Church Street. So there is Gould, where I was about 5 minutes ago. What's funny is if you go on Google Maps and look over this area, it's still labeled as Ryerson University. On the left here is the George Very Engineering and Computing Center. And on the right, we have the Daphne Cockwell Health Sciences Complex. I think the faculties at TMU include arts, communication and design, community services, engineering and architectural science. There's a law school, science, as well as the Ted Rogers School of Management, which I think is one of the highest rated business schools in the country. And the University of Toronto and York University in the city also have rather distinguished business schools. And here's a former Esso gas station on the left. I thought this thing was driving itself, but it does have a guy in the back controlling it. And we are at Dundas Street East. And one last look north up Church Street.
I'm not surprised.
Clear skies off in that direction. And it's gray and overcast to the north. And I've arrived at Bond Street, so I'll take this north and I'll head up north through the large community park straight ahead. There's a shisha lounge. There's some more rebranding necessary. Those trucks say Ryerson on them.
Well, that email. Yeah. So I said, oh, sorry for the confusion. Thanks for finding to us.
And this church was erected back in 1898 by German immigrants.
What email?
I'm kind of curious as to what lies this way. It also gives us a neat view of that church. So if I turn right here, this should take me up to Gould Street. Here's some urban grit for your university campus. And this is the large pond that converts into an ice rink in the winter. I think it's actually a public ice rink, so it's not just open to the university. And it has just started to lightly rain.
Anyway, I love you. Yeah.
All right, I think I want to cut through this way. Someone is trusting their e-bike to this lock here. That is bold. This is the Recreation and Athletic Center entrance, it looks like. Officially opened on October 30, 1987.
Yo. What's up? Holy fuck. What's up?
Well, there's what I was looking for. This was originally the Toronto Normal and Model School from 1851 to 1962. They left the central facade of the building intact. Looks kind of like a neat modern ruin.
Just by this analysis.
This is probably the nicest part of campus. I know that's subjective, but I don't think you get too many arguments on that one. That is Kerr Hall. I'm surprised that they haven't changed the sign on that building there. And that is the rather small clock tower, which I've never really noticed before until Ken pointed it out, and I almost missed it on this one. And it's back to Gerrard Street.
Like it's not exciting enough. Like what is enough?
That is the Center for Urban Innovation. And we'll look east on Gerrard Street. The actual footprint of the university campus isn't that big. It's certainly much smaller than the University of Toronto's St. George campus. I think at one point they were supposed to build a second campus out in the city of Brampton, but that was nixed, I think, in 2018. I said earlier there are 3 universities in Toronto, or at least 3 major universities. U of T, which is about a 10-15 minute walk to the west of here. I guess northwest. Might be a little longer than that, depending on how fast your legs move. There's also York, which is located way up in North York. And the school formerly known as Ryerson here, but when I Googled how many universities there are in Toronto, I got a lot of mixed results. Some of the results indicated there are 3, some said 4, some said 5, some said way more. And the reason for that is these days a lot of colleges have university status. In fact, the Ontario College of Art and Design is now OCAD University. And I think the University of Guelph, which is another city, has partnered with Humber College to create the University of Guelph-Humber. And they have Humber campuses here in Toronto. Ryerson Community Park, and it looks like that was probably a water feature at some point. So I'm now walking south. And this walkway is named after Nelson Mandela. Although once I get south of Gould, I'll be on Victoria Street. And there's 2 subway stations nearby. There's Dundas, which is where I'll be ending up in a few moments, just to the the south of here at Dundas Square, and just north of Dundas on Yonge Street there is College Station. Both are just steps from the campus here. I guess College is a little further. And you could also take the 506 Carlton streetcar or the Dundas streetcar. And we are back to Gould Street. That is Yonge just over there. There's a campus store on the right. And that is Dundas Street again, straight ahead. That's the Raymond Chang School of Continuing Education on the left. And the Victoria Building. There's some officers riding around. There's a public health building right here. And I believe it's also a safe injection site. So it's not uncommon to see things like ambulances in this area, as well as a host of interesting characters, to be polite. But I don't think it's unsafe. Speaking of which, there's an ambulance with its lights on. That one could be heading into the subway station. Toronto Public Health, 277 Victoria Street. There's a New York license plate. Well, at least the rain held off. There's some kind of gathering going on there. We're heading into the City TV building, formerly the Torch Olympic Spirit. They had a large Indonesian food festival here over the weekend. I guess Dundas Square is officially a public-private space. There is private security on hand, so it's a bit unlike Times Square, which you'll see lots of New York City officers standing around. There's the entrance to the subway station, and I am going to wrap this one up, so I hope you enjoyed this walk around the school formerly known as Ryerson, lovingly referred to by University of Toronto students as Rye High. I guess they'll have to think of a new one. There's the Sam the Record Man sign, which for some reason is now perched atop that building. That used to be where the Ryerson University Student Learning Center is. All right, let me know your thoughts and comments down below, and if you wish to support the channel, there's links to my Patreon and YouTube channel membership in the description. I have an Instagram account at Johnny Strides. And there's a super thanks button appearing below these videos. All right, thank you for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.